Do you ever hear a song that instantly gives you that warm, nostalgic feeling, like you're remembering something that never even happened? Well, it's probably no surprise hearing this from me, but that's exactly what ambient indie folk does for me. And it seems like the rest of you have been really loving the ambient stuff I've been producing lately. So today, I'm going to produce a brand new ambient indie folk song completely from scratch. And because of all the support and kind messages from you guys on these tracks, I think I've decided to actually finish them and turn them into a full EP. So let's dive in and let's make something absolutely beautiful. All right, so we're going to start this one out with a voice note. It's about 3 minutes long, but I won't play the whole thing. But there's some very strong parts in it that I think would sound really good in this production. So I'm going to play it. Capo 4. So we got some nice guitar. That would sound great. Some nice ambient vocals here. And then there's a really, really solid pre-chorus. I'm just going to play it here. So here it is here. Up and down around again. I've been up and down and trying in This is just me mumbling vocals here. And then I actually caught, this is all in like one voice note, which is crazy. Usually I get like 45 voice notes before I get something good. And then for the chorus, I also caught that in here. So here's the chorus. So typically you don't get all of that in one voice note, but here I got kind of lucky, I guess. So we're going to go with that. Just a little tip: anytime I am messing around, noodling on the guitar, riffing some vocals, always just hit record because you might miss something amazing. All right, so we're going to start it out with that acoustic guitar. You kind of heard that melody in the voice note. So I'm just going to grab my Yamaha CPX 500 and I'm going to record it into my Audio-Technica AT2020 mic. I'm just going to be 8 inches from the guitar, so probably aimed at the 12th fret, and we'll get things going. So I also threw on some guitar rig here. I just put this acoustic shimmer preset on these guitars just to give it a little bit of reverb, make it stand out a little bit. So next I'm going to make my own kind of guitar pad here. What I'm going to use and what I typically use, I'm going to throw on a ton of Space Designer here. This is just the default Space Designer when you load up Space Designer. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this guitar rig preset called Padulation. And I'm just going to strum the guitar, and you'll see that it actually sounds like a pad. I also cut out all the lows and a bit of the highs. That I'm going to record this guitar again. All right, so that sounds like this on its own. As you can see, it sounds very much like a pad. So it's nice to just add a little extra layer in there just to sound check. Heard myself coming through there. Apologize. But it's nice to have a little extra layer there just as like a little bit of a pad, just for some more ambiance. We are producing like ambient folk. All right, so next I found this lap steel sample from Splice. Here's what it sounds like, but I'm gonna manipulate it a bit just to give it a different sound. So just a little bit too high and loud. What I'm gonna do here is transpose it 12 semitones. So that's a little bit better. I'm probably gonna cut off some of the highs and the lows here. And then what I'm gonna do is add like a guitar rig preset. I was messing around and I found this creamy snowflakes one. Kind of makes it a little gritty. Almost makes it sound like a brass instrument or something. And I'm kind of getting this inspiration from Roslyn by Bon Iver. So that's kind of where I'm getting the inspiration from that. is that sound from Roslyn. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce anything. Everything's, who knows anymore. So yeah, so that's kind of where I'm, obviously Bon Iver sounds way better than mine, but just gives it a little bit of added ambiance. I think that's sounding pretty good. What I think I'm going to do next is I'm going to add some vocal layers in the background here and just start filling out this frequency spectrum. Get that, establish that vibe. We're almost there. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to add this, which I've been adding in a lot of my songs lately. Kind of gives like a little, almost like a vinyl crackle ambiance. It's called Early Memories. It's a Serum 2 preset. And I didn't touch any of these buttons on here. I literally just played it. So here's what it sounds like. It's like a little pad mixed with like a vinyl crackle sound. It just adds some nice ambiance. So I'm going to add this because I feel like it's just great. An extra addition to this track here. But now I'm going to try and record some vocals similar to the voice note in the start. So let's get those ready. And what I'm going to do with the vocals, I'm going to record into my Audio Technica AT2020 mic. And yeah, we'll get some nice ambient vocal kind of hims and haws. Super, super ambient sounding. Let's get a few other layers. All right, so next we're going to do like just a few oohs and ahs, just a little bit more of a background kind of thing going on. All right, so we recorded a boatload of these. Didn't want to bore you with all of these takes, but basically here's what the end sound kind of sounds like. So I kind of did like almost like a little vocal chop here. Chance Peña does that in his song In My Room. So it's kind of leaning towards that vibe. So the first part of the intro is just regular kind of oohs, and then the second part adds some of those vocal chops or whatever you call them, I guess. But I think that's pretty good for an intro. I'm really liking how that's sounding. Kind of establishes like a really ambient vibe here. And it just sounds cool. There's like an alarm going off. All right, that was an absolute disaster. I heard like an alarm going off, and we just moved into the house, so we don't have like any codes for the alarms. And I guess my girlfriend was taking a shower, and the smoke alarm is right beside the bathroom. So all of the steam was going up into it. So all of the steam caused the smoke alarm to go off, and then we couldn't get the alarm to go off. And then I hit some stupid button on the keypad, and then I didn't realize it was like the police button or something. So then the alarm started going off like crazy. It was so loud. The whole neighborhood probably heard it. And I'm running around like trying to find a code to shut this thing off. So then finally I just turned off the main breaker to the house, and then that stopped everything. And then when I turned it back on, it stopped, but the keypad was still beeping a little bit, but the big alarm that was super loud stopped. Oh, that was a nightmare. That was great. My girlfriend and I are running around the house. That was funny. Anyways, I don't even know where I was here. I think I was going to start out with this verse melody on the guitar here. So I'm basically just going to record it with this Yamaha CPX 500. I'm going to point my Audio Technica mic at the 12th fret. And I'm just going to strum lightly. No guitar pick, just my fingers, just nice and light, ambient, Let's just make it sound nice. Also just went and kind of arranged it. I went right into the chorus and played the chorus guitar as well. Like I've said in previous videos, when you play guitar all the way through, you actually get some really nice feel in your playing, you know what I mean? Whereas if I was to just loop a 4-bar section, there's not much feel in that guitar playing. Whereas, when you play it and then you kind of like mouth the words, obviously you don't sing it while you're recording it, but when you mouth the words and stuff, the guitar playing is going to sound a lot better. It's going to have a lot more feel to it. So I'm not sure what to do next. All right, so next up, I'm going to use this wild guitar plugin that I found online, Fine Classics Guitar Pedal Board. It is such a good sounding pedal board / guitar amp sim. I've actually been using this more than I use Guitar Rig and Overloud recently. There's tons of like really awesome presets on here, just like for actual like independent artists and like producers that produce like indie folk, alternative rock, Midwest emo, those kinds of genres that everyone's producing now. And there's like a ton of presets that you can just load and you don't even have to think about the guitar plugin. So highly recommend. What I'm using here is this vibey indie lead. Just well in the background, but just something to add a little bit to the production here. And if you want 20% off on this plugin, click the link in the description or use code LukeProv20 off. I promise you it's a really, really good plugin. Great presets, and it doesn't break the bank like Overloud THU or Guitar Rig. And it's catered to indie musicians. So check it out, try it, let me know what you think. But it's really, really good. I promise I wouldn't steer you in the wrong direction. I'm only going to promote things that I actually believe are good on here. But let's get back into it and record this guitar. Got my Fender Strat, and I'm going to use the neck pickup. And yeah, just directly into this audio interface. Let's record. All right, so I'm also going to put some bass on here. All right, so I'm going to use this Dirty Studio Bass preset that I always use. I probably use this way too often, but it works. Sometimes if something works, go with it. I'm just going to do a generic bass line here. And I'm going to bring in the bass on this pre-chorus. Before the pre-chorus, I'm not going to have anything. It's just going to be strictly all the other instruments. So I'm going to bring in the bass here, which will kind of make a nice change in the song. Okay. And another thing, I've been dying to use this plugin because I just bought it. It's by Ink Audio. It's called Ink Steel. It emulates a lap steel guitar. Apparently lap steels take years to master and they're super expensive. So why not buy a plugin? So I'm going to mess around with some melody ideas and get back to you. So you probably can't see it, but I have this Arturia 88 key MIDI keyboard. So I'm just going to use this and modulate the pitch. So this is a Contact 8 instrument. Like I said, it's called Ink Steel. And yeah, just a really super powerful lap steel guitar plugin. So just an easy way to get some pedal steel guitar in the tracks. I always try and use splice, but I can never find something that works really well. And then you have to transpose it and then it doesn't sound really well. So this Ink Steel is just a really good plugin. This one's not sponsored, but I highly recommend checking it out if you enjoy lap steel guitar in your tracks. So let's mess around. Oh, that sounds good. Maybe I'll do something like that. Really nice. I love that sound. I'm so glad I bought that. I also just found some risers on Splice here. This is what they're called if you want to grab them for yourself. But this just going into that pre-chorus just gives it a little bit of a transition element. I like putting those transition elements in there. You can also, like, if you have a crash at home, hit the crash, reverse it. Tons of different ways to get your own without using a sample. Or if you want to use a software instrument, just hit a crash and then bounce it in place, get the waveform, and then reverse the waveform. That's another way to get like a reverse kind of riser sound. Really nice, chill, not like a crazy riser or anything. But yeah, so now I think we're gonna move into the chorus. I got a little bit here just from the bass and the acoustic guitars, which I played through, so I don't have to re-record those. But what I'll do, probably open back up Fine Classics plugins and get some kind of guitar strums right when this chorus comes in. All right, so what I'm gonna do here is I got this Springy Twin preset, and then basically I'm just cutting off some of the highs and lows, scooping some of these mids, and I also added a tremolo on here and a little bit of Space Designer. This is what it sounds like. As you can probably tell in the background, I put a little bit of that pedal steel in there too. I was kind of going with more of kind of closer to what the vocal melody is going, so it'll probably make sense once the vocals are in. All right, and also what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a reverse reverb of these guitar strums, and then it's going to lead into each of the next strums. So I'm just going to bounce that out. Very easy. You just go bounce in place and then reverse. I'm not going to bore you with it. So here's the guitars alone. I think that added little guitar reverse reverb really makes a nice sound there. All right, so this chorus is starting to sound really good, I think. I don't know. Maybe it's horrible. Maybe I'll come back tomorrow and say, oh, this is terrible. Scrap this video, do another one, but hopefully not. Okay, so I'm thinking we do drums next. All right, so Fine Classics has this dynamic drums plugin. Once again, if you want 20% off, just click the link in the description or use code LukeProv20 off. But basically, they got a bunch of presets in here. I'm using this delicate drum preset. There's lots and lots of different options when tweaking these drum sounds. There's like a mixer over here. There's also like a mic mixer over here. You can change the EQ. You can add a bunch of effects, change the attack, the release, add some compression, EQ, tons of different ways you can shape this sound. Yeah, I'm a sick finger drummer, bro. Just kidding. I suck. So yeah, this is another great plugin, 20% off. I promise it's good. So yeah, I'm just gonna mess around with some drum beats here and get back to you. So what I did here on the kick and the snare, I added a little bit of reverb. So I think those drums sound really good. Fine Classic did a fine job making that plugin. Really glad I downloaded that. But yeah, I'm thinking, what else should we add here? All right, so I'm going to add a Steinway piano here, kind of Logic's stock Steinway grand piano. Pretty much just going to use the stock sound. Just going to add a little bit of reverb. I'm not much of a piano player, so I'll probably just program this in just because the chords are going to be a little weird. I'm going to mess around with that and you'll see what I make. Okay, so what I did is this. So got the chorus coming in. Fairly simple, and here it is kind of in the mix. Yeah, kind of adds a nice little layer. I like that piano in the background. Another thing, I'd like to get a violin in here, but I'm going to attempt to play it myself. I've been practicing violin lately, and I suck. I'm terrible, But the more I practice, the better I feel like I've been getting. So I'm going to try it. It's probably going to sound horrible, but sometimes you got to persevere in life. All right. Of course, when I was recording the best take of my violin, the camera cuts out halfway through. That was brutal. But, okay, here's what I recorded. I kind of had to chop things up, do different takes. It takes me like an hour to record anything good on violin. I'm so bad. But I got this, but I have a plan. It doesn't sound very good, but I have a plan to get it sounding good. So here's what it sounds like. So, what I'm going to do to make it not sound horrible, and it actually doesn't sound too bad in the mix, and I'll show you in a second, because you can't really hear all those brutal bow noises. Is that what it's even called? Is it called a bow? I don't even know. Anyways, here's my plan. I'm going to grab a splice sample to finish it off and do like a vibrato. I tried to learn to do that because I thought it would be easy, but I found myself not being able to do that after attempting for like over an hour. I just couldn't get my finger to move in that direction while I was moving the bow up and down. I suck at violin. I probably shouldn't be trying to put it in a track, but I'm determined to do this and make it sound good. So it's going to sound good. Let's manifest it. So I'm going to do a new track and get a splice sample, and then I will be back, and this is going to sound good. Okay. Here's what I did. This is probably going to sound bad on its own, but in the mix, it doesn't sound too bad. So I kind of just transitioned it into this actually good sample of a violin with like some vibrato. So in the mix, doesn't sound as bad as that. You be the judge. So doesn't sound horrible with the vocals and everything. You'll mainly just hear what I really wanted was I wanted that because it goes along with the vocals, and I actually think that sounds half decent. I can't get like a nice long vibrato while I'm strumming. I don't know, whatever. I tried. It sounds good. I think it sounds good. Okay, so I think we got to do vocals now. I'm so tired. It's like 10:45, but I just want to finish this because the rest of the week I don't have time. So let's do some vocals. All right, so I have everything written. After I did that voice note, I kind of just wrote it out on guitar. I find the best way to produce is when you have a song that's already written. But just because you know the structure, you know, like the lyrics, and you can kind of produce the track. And that's what I've been doing. And I'll show you that kind of in a little bit here. You can produce a track towards the vocal melody a little bit. Whereas if you do the vocals after, you know, you might not get those moments in the track that kind of coincide with the vocals. But I'll show you that as we go here. So let's load some tracks up. I got the vocals recorded. We're just going to add some layers and kind of call it a day here. But I'm really liking how it's sounding. I did a bunch of takes here just to get it kind of good. And yeah, what I was mentioning before about kind of producing it when it's already written, like the lyrics and the lyrics melody. So if you listen on this chorus, you'll really hear how the vocals kind of coincide with the instruments here. So if you listen. And I have been trying. So there I do with the violin. Do, do, do. I have been trying. And then when I say try and the guitars all strum out, that's how, if you write it before, you can kind of produce it the way the vocal melody is kind of written. And same with the snares. That's hitting every time I'm saying, I have been. And same with the acoustic guitar strums as well. So everything's kind of working together there, but just a little tip when producing. I used to produce the track and then try and sing over it, but I find that my productions become a lot better when it's already written because you produce kind of towards that vocal, and then it really makes everything come together and just sound like a song that you've actually produced to the vocal rather than singing a vocal over an already instrumental track. And that can work, absolutely. But I just find my productions have been a bit better when I've been doing it this way. So I'm going to add a bunch of harmonies, my least favorite thing to do because my voice sucks for endurance, but I'm going to do it. And all right, so instead of boring you guys with singing all these vocal stacks, I just recorded them and I will go over what I did. So basically for this first melody, I did 4 kind of supporting layers in a falsetto. So here, this is what they sound like. I've been going through changes. Absolutely needs to be tuned. I think I put waves on it, but it just sounds a little too auto-tuney. So I'd probably take that off and put Melodyne on it, do it the proper way. But that paired with the lead vocal. I've been going through changes. And then I panned each take kind of left and right here. Nothing crazy. I actually think I just used the same vocal chain as well. I didn't add any extra reverb, nothing. And then on the pre-chorus, I kind of did the same thing. I just did a lower kind of octave. That's out of tune as well. Sounds bad. I should probably tune it. Yeah, so nothing crazy. I didn't go too hard on these. I think it was sounding good as it is. Sometimes I overdo it with layers, and I got to kind of listen to myself and say, hey, this doesn't need layers. So for the chorus, still got my lead vocal here. I guess I know some people like when I go through my vocal chain. I'm not a mixing engineer, but I'll go through it anyways. So I just got a channel EQ cutting off some of the lows, kind of boosting around here. Little bit of the highs are boosted. Just got a compressor, probably doing about like 5 dB of gain reduction. Got an RVox. Here's the settings. Just another compressor by Waves. De-esser by Waves, just cutting out those S sounds. SSL channel, I just have it as a lead box setting. And Space Designer with this vocal plate at -13. And these are the settings here. And I just put Melodyne on the lead vocals as well. Melodyne just adds that extra little bit of tuning. Unfortunately, I don't sing perfectly. There's certain pitches that are off. So with this, you can alter all the pitches. But yeah, that's all I got going on there. And then I did a bunch of layers here. So here's what they sound like. And I have been trying. So as you can see here, there's a bit of harmonies, like when I say trying, like right here. And then basically just a bunch of other layers just to kind of get a vocal that sounds like there's a bunch of people singing the vocal. Nothing really crazy going on here. I just recorded it a bunch of times, panned each of them left and right. All the chains are like the exact same as the lead vocal. Probably could have done a little bit there, but I like how it's sounding. It's not too bad. It's also getting late and I'm getting lazy. And then of course, as per usual, I did a falsetto layer kind of in the background as well. I've been trying. So with everything, all the vocals together. And I have been trying. Doesn't sound too bad. I like it. Kind of a very thick, layered sounding vocal. But other than that, I think we got ourselves a track here. I'm really liking it. I think we're ready for like a final run through here. So let's do it.
is forming too deep. Breaking down these walls, I'm tired of fighting, finding all the ways to make it right for me. And I have been trying to find my way out of this. And I have been trying, I don't know where to begin.
All right, well, I think that actually turned out pretty good. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. The one thing, obviously, like I say in all my videos, it could probably use a good mix and master. I usually send all my stuff away, so this is more of the creative process of producing the song. I feel like the vocal melody on the first verse could potentially be better. It could be stronger. It's good, but it's not great. I like the pre-chorus and the chorus melody. But yeah, I loved the Ink Steel plugin. Absolutely incredible. Love that plugin. And then the Fine Classics plugins were just kind of like icing on the cake. It was just really fun to mess around with some new plugins that are like really powerful. So highly recommend checking all those plugins out. And like I said, if you want a 20% discount code on Fine Classics, check out the link in the description. And yeah, other than that, I had fun. This was good. This is a fun time, a good track. I might release this on the EP. I got to listen to it a few more times. It's like right there. I don't know. I'm up in the air about it right now. Thank you guys for watching. If you would like a song produced by me, send me a message on Instagram. I know a lot of you who have been messaging me have been having a hard time getting your thoughts into your DAW. So I'm here to help. If you want me to produce your song for you, we can absolutely work something out. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button because there's so many more videos just like this coming. And we'll see you guys in the next one.